Hello there, Pisces. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot video forecast. This forecast is for the month of July, and I'm breaking it down into two segments. So the first part is going to be July the 1st through the 17th. Okay, so I've already shuffled the cards. I've put them on the table just to save time in the video. So let's just jump right in, Pisces. What we have showing up for your environment is that you are I really feel like you're taking charge of some things in your environment that you may not have really done a lot with before. And I think you've got some creative ideas about how you want to improve those. And you are starting to do what it takes to improve those. Or for those of you, there may be some of you who this is not something that you're starting. Maybe you've been doing this for a while. But I do see you taking some really creative action, maybe even doing sort of some problem solving in your environment. You know, maybe you need better storage solutions or who knows what. But I just feel like you're taking some action that is something that you're really enjoying. It's really creative and it's really inspired to make your environment better. Next thing that I have coming up talks to me about your subconscious leanings, Pisces. And what I have going on here is that there is something that you are feeling really hopeful about. You're feeling like things can be brought into balance and made better and can move forward productively. And your subconscious is really working on, okay, well, yes. I think the subconscious is agreeing with you, and the subconscious is looking for, okay, what are the actual technical steps to make this happen? What should we be doing to make this happen? That's what your subconscious is working on. Next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about two different things. First of all, your learning style, and secondly, your communication style during this time frame. I do think that you are spending a little bit of time during this first part of July hanging out with people who have done things like you want to do, people that have some wisdom about some things that you want to do in the future because they've already done them. And I think that these people are helping you to really set your goals higher than what you have had them before. As far as communication style, I do feel like your communication is very solid. It's very grounded. I think that you are very much, aware of what's going on in the present. And I think a lot of your communication is about what's going on in the present and setting a foundation in the present for things that you want to do in the future. And I also believe there's a lot of emotion in the things that you're communicating at this point in time. Excuse me a moment. Sorry about the interruption, guys. I got a little piece of dust caught in my throat. Let's move on, though. So, next thing that I want to talk about here is work. And it looks to me like you've got something going on at work where somebody basically is trying in some way to take advantage of you. For some of you Pisces, this is going to be your boss just asking you to do more and more and more work and take on more and more, and not expecting to have to pay anymore for all these extra responsibilities that you're paying on or for this extra time that you're doing. I'm not sure if they're expecting you to, you know, just clock out and just work regular hours and still accomplish all of this stuff, even though it's going to take more time, or exactly what's going on here for those of you that this is a boss or a supervisor. This isn't a boss or a supervisor for all of you, though. So for others of you, this is somebody at work who's trying to take advantage of you in the way of just basically, you know, oh man, I don't have any money. Can you loan me whatever, whatever, and I'll pay you back. And then I don't really see them paying you back. I see them giving you another sob story about how all their money has gone down the toilet again. And so, you know, now they need more money, and, you know, okay, if you can just give them so much, then they'll pay you back that first amount, and they'll pay you back this next amount, you know, next chance they get. So it's coming in at me, as far as this energy, it's coming in at me a couple of different ways. So for some of you, this could just be, you know, a boss or a supervisor at work that's just wanting more than is reasonable, let's say it that way, from you based on the compensation that you're getting. And for others of you, this is going to be a coworker or a colleague or somebody in the environment there that is just basically trying to get you to float them by. basically. Okay? So you just want to be aware of that, and kind of have in mind how you're going to handle that whenever it comes up, so that you can not let yourself be walked all over, basically. Next thing that we have coming up talks to me about that part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded right now. I do see you, Pisces, as really coming into your own as an independent person, as, having your own creativity, having your own self-sufficiency, maybe even working a little bit of that, water sign magic, mystical stuff possibly as well. But I see you, really having a lot of enthusiasm about the things that you're interested in right now. And I really think for a lot of you, what you're interested in is some kind of hobby, but really having a lot of enthusiasm about it and about doing more with that hobby as you're moving forward. Next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about something that you stand for during this time frame. And I think what we've got going on here is we have a friend that just basically got on your last nerve, and you couldn't hold back anymore. Pisces, I know that you guys really do not enjoy confrontations. I think that you let this person know that what they were doing was a problem, in no uncertain terms. And for you to actually do that is kind of a big deal. So whatever they were doing had to be pretty out there. Now, what we have going on, though, is that somebody is asking you about this. They're asking you why you did this, or they're confronting you about it. Maybe they are even feeling like you shouldn't have, and so they're confronting you about this thing. What happens is you guys have a little discussion about what happened, and I think after that, then this person who is asking you to explain this, or who is confronting you about this, they see you as somebody who, just really did the right thing, self-care wise, and also I think they see you as somebody who did the right thing to look out for or defend somebody else, to stand up for somebody else as well, not only just yourself. When this person was getting on your nerve, it kind of is coming to me that the more I feel into this whole situation, that part of the way that person was bouncing up and down on your nerve had to do with things that they were saying about, or ways that they were treating somebody, that you felt like you needed to stand up for this person. Maybe they don't know how to stand up for themselves. Maybe they're too young, or, maybe they just didn't even realize what this person was doing. But I feel like you were standing up for somebody else, uh, because this other person was doing something or saying something about them that was really jumping up and down on your last nerve. Excuse me, I'm just trying to keep my throat running here. Next thing that we're looking at does talk to me about that lesson or experience of this time frame, and it does look like you have a situation around you where you pretty much know that something is fishy here. You just don't know exactly what. You can't quite put your finger on it. And so I think lesson or experience here is about figuring out how to deal with a situation where you don't have exactly all the information and you're trying to make decisions around this situation. As you are figuring out what to do with this, I think that you are holding off on making any long-term plans. I really feel like you've got some kind of like gut intuition, gut instinct that is kind of telling you things are not right here. So even though you don't have verification of that, I don't think that you're willing to make any long-term plans. I think you're trying to give time for more information to come to the surface around this situation before you do make any plans. Excuse me. I feel like by holding off on making any plans, this is going to impact your finances also in a positive way, just because you're not really committing to anything for the long term. You're just kind of going, you know, day by day by day to see how things turn out. And it's interesting how this ends up, Pisces, because once we get to the 16th, 17th of the month, I really see you taking some money and stashing it away, or putting it away, holding on to it for later. I think you're holding on to it just in case, because you might want to engage in this situation, this mysterious situation that smells a little fishy. You're feeling like, I might want to engage in this later after I have more information, but for right now, I'm just going to set this money back That way, if I decide I want to pull the trigger, I can. I can pull this out of stash later on and do that. But for right now, I'm just not ready to do that. And I think that you're sensing, that there's more information, and I think you're waiting for that extra information to surface before you decide how much of your hard-earned money, or how much of your money that comes to you easily, whatever your situation may be, how much of your money you necessarily want to put into this situation that seems a little bit fishy. Okay, so that's where we see you whenever we leave off in the middle of the month. In a few seconds, I'll come back and we'll take a peek at what's going on for the second half of the month. Thanks for being here, Pisces. See you in a sec. Hi there, Pisces. We are back again, and this time we're looking at July the 18th through the 31st. Once again, I've already shuffled the cards and I've got them on the table for you. What we're looking at whenever it comes to your environment is I'm seeing that there's a lot of communication going on back and forth around that environment and between people that are in that environment and others on the outside, but lots and lots of communication, and things are changing because of this communication. You may have to really stay on your toes to keep up with what all's going on in the environment and around the environment. Now, next thing I'm looking at talks to me about your subconscious leanings. And by the way, guys, just a little reminder, this is a general reading. I'm never going to get too specific on a general reading because then that's going to lock out quite a big number of you. But if you want an actual specific reading where we get into the nitty-gritty total details, then you want to go ahead and get a private reading with me where I can look at just your energy instead of you and all the other Pisces that are watching this video. Anyway, let's move on to your subconscious leanings in the second part of July. What we have here is that you're really thinking about somebody in your life who maybe makes a little bit of immature decisions, or makes decisions just a little bit too quickly. They don't really do their due diligence first. And I get the sense from this card that what's going on is that you would really like to help this person so that they could be more logical about things, so that they could think things through better before they make decisions. And I think you're really working on, how can I get this person's attention and get them to allow me to help them with that? That's what's going on in your subconscious at this point. Not necessarily a person that's younger than you, but somebody who does make some more immature decisions. All right, next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about learning style and also communication style. I do feel like there's something going on where you're definitely going to be feeling like, I'm really learning from my mistakes this week. There's some kind of mistake that comes along that you're making that really turns out to be invaluable over the long run, because you're able to take what went wrong there and learn from that and be able to have a heads up so that next time you go into a similar situation, you're not going to find yourself, with a similar outcome. Okay. As far as your communication style, what do we have? I feel like there's a lot of body language as far as your communication style. There's a lot of talk too, but I feel like the bigger things that are being said actually during this time frame are with body language. Next thing I'm looking at does talk to me about work. Now, I'm not somebody who normally sees something like this, but if I see it, my deal with Sacred Spirit is I have to say it, and I have to trust that it's coming out for your highest and best interest so that you can do something about this and see it coming. So what I'm going to say about work is I feel like there's somebody there who is jealous of you and jealous of the attention that you're getting. And I can hear you guys actually responding to this, even though it hasn't hit YouTube yet, but I can hear your responses whenever you do hear this is going to be, what do they have to be jealous of, for Pete's sake? And I don't think you see yourself as getting any kind of special attention. I can't help it. I can't help it. I think that this person is jealous of you, whether you feel like you get anything special or not. And maybe you don't really get anything special, but for whatever reason, in their mind, you do. And I don't think it's going to take you very long to figure out, because I think this person is not going to be able to keep their feelings under cover. In fact, I'm not sure they're even going to try to once they start feeling this. So just kind of a heads up. I don't know exactly how you would want to handle that. I guess it's gonna be different depending on the personality of the person and how important is that person to you, how closely do you work with them, all that good stuff. But just beware, be aware. All right, the next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about that part of your personality, which is growing or expanding right now. And what I'm seeing actually showed up a little bit last month, but in a different position. But this really talks about this idea of not making any long-term plans at this point, just kind of holding off, waiting and seeing, being very much in the now and just waiting to see what happens in the now. Okay, we've got a couple of similar energies to last half of the month. Excuse me. Just trying to keep my throat from drying out. So the next energy that I'm looking at talks to me about something that you stand for. Now remember, the end of the first half of the month, we saw you stashing something away, probably stashing finances away to see how things pan out before you decide if you really want to sink your finances into a situation or not. Well, here what we see is this is now coming up in the position that you're standing up for defending. So somebody knows that you've kind of held off, you've kind of held back, and you've got what you need set aside, but you're just not ready to turn loose of it yet. And they're noticing that. They're asking you about that, maybe even confronting you about that. And I think that once you explain to them what's going on and why you haven't turned loose of anything yet, I think they understand that you're not feeling obligated. You're not feeling hemmed in. You're not feeling like you have to do anything with this. You're not feeling committed. And you're not feeling committed because you have intentionally not committed. And so they're feeling like you're on the verge of just bolting and running for the hills. Which at this point, I don't see you being ready to run for the hills yet. I don't think you've still got enough information. But that's their perception of you. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about the lesson or experience of this time frame. And I think that what you're seeing is there's somebody that you're trying to coordinate with who is very unreliable, flaky. Like if you might set an appointment with them and then they don't show, and they probably won't even call you to say they're not going to show. Or maybe they call you 30 seconds before the appointment time to say, if you're that lucky. It may be that you hear from them 2 days later. Oh yeah, I went on this fabulous hike instead, la 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 la. This is just somebody it's really frustrating to try to just coordinate anything with, set an appointment for anything with. And so this is coming up as a real frustration. Yeah, and I still see you just holding on and holding off on really diving full in on something. And I think that this person might be a big contributing factor to that and the way they're acting. It looks to me like the way this person is flaking out on you, I feel like this is really frustrating you. It makes you feel like you really can't move forward with any decisions to make anything happen for yourself. And it's really putting you in a stressful situation. And it's also getting you to the point that I think you're on the verge of just letting this whole idea go. By the time you get to the end of July, you're really considering, you know what, I need to just let this whole idea go because just the idea of trying to get the information to get in is becoming so stressful that I know I don't need that. Because if I get into this situation with somebody that's flaky like this, then that's only going to be bad mochas going all the way down the road. And so I think you're just right. I don't think you've walked away yet, but I think you're right on that verge. You're realizing this is not cool at all. You just haven't really let the person know that, you know what, not into it. I think mentally you've already made that decision. I just don't think you've actually made that official just yet. Okay. So that is for your month, Pisces. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. I also appreciate not only you guys watching this video, but also the thumbs ups and the shares and the comments. All of those things help these videos be served to other people who might benefit from them. So I do appreciate all of that. And of course, I appreciate those of you who I'm going to see here for private readings and private Reiki sessions in between now and then. And the rest of you I'll see back on the next video. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great month.